Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Saturday, the 22nd, and then it said November then, of October. Well, first a quick recap on today's performance on Friday. Well, the first one came nowhere, very disappointing. The second one, I'm sure you might have watched the race, should have won at 20 to 1. It's not sour grapes, I'm just speaking facts. It should have won in my opinion. 20 to 1, what was it, half a length, second a length, something like that. And then the next one won absolutely pulling a car. I don't know if you saw that race as well. Seddon won at 10 to 1. So straight away, that would have been nice if the 20 to 1 would have won. Because obviously we would have had £2 going onto the Seddon. And Seddon was 10 to 1. So you're talking maybe a 30 odd quid returns. So yeah, it could have been a very nice day. In the end, we actually lost 60p, which was a bit frustrating, really, because obviously how I bet the horses, I don't actually bet on the with bigger singles. So let's get on to Saturday's horse racing selections. What I have chosen a 10 pence each way lucky 15 and a pound each way accumulator at Cheltenham, and also a separate one at Doncaster. And then I've combined just a few horses in doubles and a treble, sorry. The total stake, 5, 10, I believe so far is £14. Just to let you know, for those of you that are interested in the football bet, I'll be providing those selections in the comment sections from about 10 o'clock Saturday morning. So all you need to do, don't replay the video, just click on, it'll probably say more in the description. Sorry, not in the comments. I'll leave it in the comments and description. So click on more or scroll to the comments. And I shall leave the football selections. The football selections will be a win treble over 2.5 goals, a win treble over 3.5 goals, and a win treble over 4.5 goals. So basically, you're shouting goals, goals, goals. So basically, if there's 5 goals in all the 3 matches each, then jackpot. It's not as easy as it sounds, by the way. So let's get into Saturday's horse racing selections. So the first 10 pence each way lucky 15. The selection is Motown Maggie in a 5+2 at Cheltenham, paying 4 places instead of 3. Gordon Elliott won this race last year. Originally, I wrote this horse off and looked for a different one because it was a mare, which it kind of put me off. I looked at the rest of the selections and I'm thinking, well, what can really win this race? What can be? There's so many question marks. So I've gone back to last year's winning trainer. I do like the profile of the horse. It looks quite decent. And also, I like the profile of the horse that Gordon Elliott won the race with last year as well. So that kind of tipped itself really in the end. So Motown Maggie. The second selection is Dad's Lad at 7 to 2 in the 3.15 at Cheltenham, paying 3 places instead of 2. The third selection is Lieutenant Highway at 12 to 1 in the 3.50 at Cheltenham, paying 6 places instead of 3. I believe this horse could potentially go straight to the front. There may be question marks over its stamina because it's only ran over, the furthest is 2 mile 4 furlong. I think it's personally crying out for at least 3 mile. So they could quite easily ignore this horse in front. If he gets to the front, that is. And if it gets an easy lead, it could be very difficult to beat. Last time it just set off too quick. The fourth selection is Gentle Slopes at 6 to 1 in the 5 o'clock at Cheltenham, paying 4 places instead of 3. I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't mean to take the prices. Every single horse on Saturday, take SP, yeah? Because as I've said before, I think you're wasting your time taking the prices, because if you take the price, I think generally I might be able to manage it to steal a few prices. Like I've had horses when they've been 14s and they've been backed into like 5 to 1. That's great. But generally, so the horses, on average, drift. I'll be honest. So that's the first lucky 15, and that's the Cheltenham lucky 15. So if you look away now, because basically you can see loads of bets that I need to scroll up to. You're not missing anything. I'm reading all the bets out. It's just that Skybet really confused matters. So I'm just going to scroll up to the next lucky 15. Right. So the next 10 pence each way lucky 15 is at Doncaster. So the first selection is Master Zoffany in the 20+1 at Doncaster, paying 5 places instead of 4. I backed this horse last time when it wanted like really soft ground. Well, it got soft ground at York. Well, at Doncaster on Saturday, it will get heavy ground. It came to win the race at York and then faded to come 7th. And I was absolutely gutted because it actually looked like winning at one point and very disappointed. But I think it's only ran 3 times this season. This is the 4th time. So obviously they've been waiting for the soft ground. So yeah, that's that selection. The second selection is Manifested in the 155 at Doncaster. This horse is by Richard Hannand, and its best form has been around about this distance. Well, its last 3 races, it's been running prominently over 1 mile 2. Personally, I think that's to keep the handicap mark down, waiting for a race like this. Basically, just keep it ticking over, maybe build its stamina up slightly, but also because it's not probably because it's not quite seeing the 1 mile 2 out, its handicap marks drop slightly. So yeah, I like the look of the selection. I like the angle to it. The third selection is Copper Knight in the 10 past 4 at Doncaster, paying 5 places instead of 3. This horse, I can't remember. I do this from memory, and I think it's something like £8 lower than when it won this race or dead heated for this race last year. It should be very prominent throughout. It's got a perfect draw. I think it's drawn something like 6 or 8. That's spot on. It's got its stablemate drawn in 2, Count D'Orsay. Well, you know how sometimes stables will take multiple horses, and sometimes they'll take a horse with it to the races because it enjoys the company. Well, I think it might I might sound daft a bit now, like a familiar face up front with it to relax it a bit more so it can really stride out. I might sound daft really, I don't know. Let's see what happens. But I do think Copper Knight, although it's advancing in its years, it was only just over a year where it was rated 105. So now it's rated, I believe it's 86. So that's crazy. So you've only got to run a few bad races sometimes, and the handicapper can drop your handicap mark loads. So I think this is what's happened. And now I think there's not many races left for it to go for. I believe this is the one. And finally, this one's a bit tricky really, because if it runs how I think it'll run, it's my nap of the day. And it's 20s or 25 to 1. I think there's a very sneaky angle to this one. Quite a while ago, I backed a Kevin Frost horse called Atacama Desert. I don't know if you can remember it. It was trained by Michael Stout. And it looked a bit of a monkey for Michael Stout. Well, it went to Kevin Frost. He ran it a few times, and then it ran well in some half-decent handicaps at the beginning of the season. Well, this horse was also from Michael Stout. Exactly the same profile. It looked like it would be half-decent. Never really materialised. It's done. I'll tell you what it's done with Kevin Frost is. It's been gelded anyway, but it tends to run its best races when it's held up slightly off the pace. In all the runs that I've seen, maybe barring one, when it's been forced in the pace or prominent, it's not quite got home or enjoyed it. I think personally, if this horse is, let's call it weighted with slightly, and finishes its race out well, I think you'll see the best of this horse. This horse is nowhere near a 25 to 1 chance. Don't get me wrong, it could come tailed off. The bookies are all saying it's a 25 to 1 chance. Yeah, it's got no chance. But I think it's got a cracking chance. So Al Bahi is actually the nap of the day, or each way nap of the day. I haven't had a single on it. I've left it as it is because I've included it in the doubles, and I'll show you that now. So that's the 10 pence each way, look 15 at Doncaster, and also £1 each way accumulator. Now what I'm going to go to the doubles and trebles now. So this is a combination of the horses that I've selected. So yeah, just to confuse things even more. Yeah, thank you, Skybet. You can spread them out a bit. So all you need to do is listen to the selections, click on the selections, and I'll talk you through the staking at the end. So in the 120, I've picked 2 horses. 120 Doncaster is Master Zoffany and Tomfrey. Both love soft ground. In the 350 at Cheltenham, I've picked Lieutenant Highway and Streets of Doyen. And finally, in the 445 at Doncaster, I backed Al Bahi, paying 6 places instead of 4. So what I've done there is, so basically we've got 2 horses in the first 2 races on my selections. If either of those two, this is going to stay. If either one of those in each of the two races wins, you've then got something very tasty going on to Al Bahi at 25-1. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I'm obviously hoping that they all place minimum. So the bet is 20 pence each way doubles comes to £3.20. And 10 pence each way trebles comes to 8p. If you want to up that, that's up to you. But it all relies on Al Bahi coming placed to obviously get the trebles up. So that bet there comes to £4. So in total, it's £14 for the day, and there'll probably be about £8, maybe £10 on the football Saturday afternoon. So we're heading towards 11 minutes now. If you're still here, thanks. Give me a like just to acknowledge they're here, or maybe you've liked the video anyway. But I really appreciate it. I think we're a bit unfortunate on Friday. Fingers crossed for Saturday. I've always been a bit lucky at Cheltenham, believe it or not. I do get good luck occasionally. So, the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.